Kalimera from Greece. This is Keira Martinez, and
Shyama Nandisalem.
we are very excited to do a podcast today about the last 10 years of humanitarian work that I have been doing in Greece and abroad, and to talk about some of the things that I've learned. And also, it's really great to have Shyama here because he's traveling in Europe, and he just happened to be here when I needed somebody to do a podcast. And there's no better person to speak with than him, because he was able to come with his school and volunteer with us with our refugee community, as well as organize a pop-up event in Pennsylvania. So great to have you here.
Yeah, it's amazing to be here. It's amazing to be back in Greece.
Yeah, we're happy to have you here.
I wanted to start off with a question.
Sure.
This is a very broad question, but how did you get into the work that you do? And for anybody that is not familiar with what you do, how would you characterize your work?
So I started out in 2015 as I was a flight attendant, or I am still a flight attendant for United Airlines, and I was based in Frankfurt, Germany. So when I saw the refugee influx coming in 2015, I was very keen to volunteer. I believe that through all my travels, I saw a lot of poverty in many countries that I went to, and I always wanted to do something. But I think a lot of people I meet actually feel the same way. After traveling and doing all these amazing things for ourselves, we get to the point in our lives where we ask, what are we here for, and how can we help other people that are less fortunate? So when that time came in 2015, I was really ready to help. I just didn't realize how much work it would entail. I literally haven't stopped since then, but it's been quite a journey, and really happy to talk about it today.
That's amazing. So you started your work now, as it is today, in 2015, and you talked about how one of the big things to inspire you was helping people that were maybe less fortunate than you, and doing something that has a positive impact on the world, if I'm kind of getting that type of feeling, I guess is the best word. What do you think have been some of the most impactful moments in that time, and maybe specifically in the first 3 years of your work?
Yes, I think the first 3 years was really the most challenging, and where I learned the most and worked the most, actually. I was based in Nea Kavala, a small village in northern Greece, working in a refugee camp with 4,000 people that had just been displaced mostly from Syria, and maybe about 10% from Iraq at the time. And we all ended up in the same place, which was a refugee camp. The people were living in tents, and I started to volunteer there. I couldn't hardly believe what was happening, and I wasn't quite sure how to explain that to my friends and family back home. But I think it's a really wonderful thing. Facebook was just maybe starting up back then, and I started a page, Love Without Borders. Today we have about 8,000 members from all different backgrounds. And I started to write a lot on that page, and to try to explain what was happening in the camps, what I was seeing, what I needed. And it was actually really incredible, because I was in big need of clothing, and I needed some medical support. And every day I would wake up and I had messages from people, mostly in the United States, because I'm American, and they said, how can we help you? What can we do? And they started sending parcels to Greece.
That's amazing.
One day I came home from a trip, and the whole post office was filled with boxes for Keira Martinez.
Wow.
And so I had to have a truck come help move all the boxes to get to the camp. But I think that's one thing, even though I've seen such a dark side of humanity, I have also witnessed some incredible people coming forward and offering their help when they don't know me and they don't know the people. They just see a need. And I think that's where we can always, that gives me hope and motivation to know that the humanity is still alive. And so during that time, I was working in the camps, and I was supposed to be a teacher teaching German and English. But obviously that wasn't even important at the time. I could see that there was more difficult cases happening within the camp. So I started to break off, or after my school, I would go from tent to tent, and I would sit down with the families. They would offer me a chai, a tea, and I would just listen to them. And I think that's one of the tools that I take out of these 10 years is listening is the most valuable tool you can have to help somebody. There's many people that work differently. They have an idea, they see the situation, and they want to resolve it with something else. But my philosophy is always give that person the opportunity to help themselves. No matter what we do, we're trying to create independence, empower the people, and see that they have financial stability so that they can stand on their own 2 feet.
That's amazing. Listening is definitely a very powerful tool. You were also talking about how Facebook and sharing your experience with other people and creating a community really was also important. How is that important today? And how has that kind of changed over the 10 years that you've been doing your work?
I believe that technology has been our saving grace. We've worked in supporting the Ukrainian refugees, the refugees from the Middle East here in Greece, as well as the African refugees. And I don't think I would have been able to do the work without Facebook. And I know there's a lot of controversy right now with social media and everything else, but honestly, if you're using it for a good cause, it's amazing. Anytime I have a situation, a need, I make a post, and I have such a vast network that we're always able to get support no matter what. And so even though now we have a podcast called Canvas Conversations, we have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everything else, which I run all of them. But all of those are very impactful, and I think that they've been really helpful in my work.
That's amazing. I want to speak about growth. Like, how has Love Without Borders grown over the past 10 years, and maybe what have been challenges with that growth, and also things that have been good about that growth?
So we started out in the very beginning with the basic needs, and for me, I think the most important way to help refugees is by housing. It's also the most challenging because you need sponsors. In the beginning, we created a program where we could create a campaign and we would give information about the family. And once it was 70% funded, we could take that family out of the camp and place them into a home in Athens. In 1 month, we were able to take 38 families out of the camp.
Wow.
It was incredible, and it was a lot of work, but we have continued the housing program for 10 whole years, and we've housed hundreds and hundreds of refugees, mostly for 1 year. But unfortunately, the times have changed now, and we've lost all of our sponsors except for one. So we are not able to take people out of camps anymore. We still have some apartments that we're housing refugees, some women and children, and sometimes some single men short term. But we don't have the capacity because of funding in order to take more families out, unfortunately.
So you speak a lot about community and network, and I just wanted to say something. I think that the reach of your network and the reach of your community is, I mean, why I'm here right now. If I wasn't able to come to Greece last year and work with Love Without Borders, I wouldn't be sitting here right now having this conversation. And that really exemplifies the power of community and the power of communication that can happen from any single place in the world to another place. It's amazing. And it's powerful, especially when it's for a good cause, right? So kind of back to like maybe the timeline of things. So after 2015, you said that you worked for 3 years in a refugee camp, and after that, how did you transition into the next phase of what Love Without Borders looks like?
So during the time in the refugee camp, I also created the art program. It was just a simple idea to let the kids have a little fun in their miserable conditions. And I brought paper and crayons into the tents. And that was the day that changed everything for the children and for us. And because there's a lot of trauma that the children have and the adults have, art has been a huge instrument in healing, in financial stability, and also awareness for the whole refugee community. We've been able to change the narrative to talking about the refugee and now admiring his art or her art on the wall of a gallery, and talking about this human being and what they did in their past and what brought them to the situation in Greece, why they're displaced. And I think that really helps to let people understand a little bit more and empathize a little bit more. So those two programs, the housing and the art, have really just been at the forefront of our programs, and they've been consistent as well. Since 2016, when we had our first pop-up event with the art, we have just celebrated last week at the Talhaus Gallery in Wiesbaden, Germany, our 170th pop-up event.
Wow.
And that is on 4 continents, and we've spoken to thousands of people. So we don't exactly know how that changes people and ideas, but we do know that we've seen grown men cry when they're looking at the art. We've offered to these biographies in order for them to read, to understand about the refugees, and the little cards so they can understand about the child, and that he just wants to go to school or he just wants to be a policeman when he grows up. So the art is definitely changing perceptions, lives, and it's giving them a way to support one refugee at a time by buying a piece of art. And that in turn empowers hundreds and thousands of people.
That's amazing. I feel like art definitely has a lot of power. It has a lot of impact on people. I want you to quickly talk about maybe your work with schools and institutions. What has that been like? And maybe just even aside from schools, what does your work look like with communities in Greece or communities in places where you're having pop-ups?
Yes, so a couple of very pivotal times during the work that I did, I met a few teachers online. They were looking to bring their students to Greece and to volunteer with an organization. And I remember that a lot of people were saying, save your money, don't buy a ticket to Greece, just send it to the organization. They need the funds more than anything. And I wrote down that I would be happy to host a school because I think it's more important for people to be face-to-face, to actually meet the refugees and learn firsthand what they're going through rather than them sending money. And so a few teachers, Laura from NYIT and Meredith and Prescott from Newtown, Pennsylvania, both of those at different times reached out to me, and we arranged a whole school group to come from the US all the way to Greece and to volunteer. What we didn't know was it started a whole school service program. So for the last, I believe, 5 years, 6 years, we have been running back-to-back school service programs for students, mostly at university level, but also some high school. And we have students from the Middle East, predominantly from the US and France. And those students come and volunteer with us for 10 days to 5 weeks.
Wow.
And so it's been really incredible for them to go to the refugee camps outside, because we're not allowed inside the camps, but they can sit down, they can make bracelets with the children. We have some people playing football with the children. We sit down and talk with the parents that are inside the camps. I think a big thing that people don't realize is when you're living inside a refugee camp and you have somebody that comes just to visit you and bring you simple programs to do or just to be present, this is the work of the world. This is very, very important work. And this is what we're trying to continue, is to go to the camps as often as we can, bring those people outside. I'm connected with all of the people inside the camp. So when we arrange it, we bring everybody outside and we have lots of things, fun things to do. And we have an amazing time together.
That's beautiful. I feel like that really exemplifies the impact of your network, and then through your network, the impact of art, and also the work that you guys are doing on people. And I think that's very powerful. What do you think are some, you spoke briefly about funding, and especially today there's been a lack of funding for Love Without Borders, but what are some challenges with running your organization, because it seems like a very tenuous process?
Yes, I'm still flying full-time as a flight attendant, and I'm still trying to be in Greece full-time as the director of a nonprofit. And I'm also traveling at least once or twice a month to speak at art pop-up events or at schools. I literally don't have any time off. I don't really need it. I love this work, and it's extremely important that I stay motivated and stay supported. But when you don't have the funding to do the work, this is the biggest challenge for me. It's already hard enough to do the work, but when you have to be set back because you don't have funding for it, this is really, this is my biggest challenge.
What do you think are some ways that people can really help this cause and help with funding?
There are definitely many ways to help. You can sponsor a family for 3 months, 6 months. All of the information is on our website. You can buy a painting from our Shopify. You can hold a pop-up art event in your community, which is very helpful. And you can make a donation of $10 a month that is ongoing. If you can imagine, we have 8,000 people in our Facebook group. If everybody made $10 a month, skip 2 coffees, and you can make a huge impact.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're not helping just in Greece for the refugees. We're helping local Greeks that don't have enough school supplies. They need help with their rent or clothing. We're also helping a family in Yemen, and we're also doing some art projects in Syria. So we definitely want to talk more about those in the upcoming months, about some of these projects that people can help with. But sharing from my Facebook group is also really efficient, because I have a lot of information on what's happening here for the refugees in Greece.
That's amazing. Could you quickly go over how the selling of art helps refugees and helps communities?
Sure. As I mentioned, when I saw that people were really, they had a lot to say when they painted. They poured their hearts out onto the canvas. And I don't have an art background. I just really maneuvered this whole program through my intuition because it just felt so authentic. And I bought from 2015 to 2017 with my own money all of the tools and the supplies to paint, and then I invited the children to my apartment near the camp, and every child would make a painting, and at the end of the day we gave them 30 euros so that they could buy food for their families because they were living in tents. And because I have such a great connection with all of these schools all over the world, it got a lot of attention, and NBC did a media report about it, as well as Voice of America, and everybody wanted to buy the paintings. And I just went with it. I said, sure, I'll curate some events. We created a biography for each artist and for each child. In the beginning, it was just for children, but I started to wake up in the morning, and I remember Abdul Hakim in tent C55. He wrote me with photos of many pieces of art in his tent, and I thought, what is this? And it was so cute because it was a Sunday, and they invited me to their tent, and I went inside, and it was art everywhere. And I then started to work with adults, and I was able to get Abdul Hakim out of that tent into his own house, and his family is now safe and living in Germany. They all speak fluent German. They are educating their children there and living there and living in peace. And on that note, I just want to shout out to Germany because they're one of the countries that have taken the most refugees in. I know many organizations, Human Aid Collective and other organizations that are doing incredible work helping refugees. And so I would say 90% of the people that I helped went to Germany, and they're still in touch with me to this day. And so, yes, the art has just been a big part of our lives, and it has not only for the financial part to support them, but also it was healing for them because at that time they were living in tents and they didn't have anything else to go to anybody else. And here I am, a American flight attendant sitting in their tent telling them, here's art supplies. They thought, okay, Majnun. But it turned out that, it really saved us all. Art saved us all. And it's been really a powerful part of our program.
That's beautiful. Could you speak briefly about your art gallery?
Sure. So we purchased our art gallery right after COVID, actually, and that was our big dream because throughout these last 10 years, I have 20 suitcases of art in my house. I had children's toys and the children all over on the terrace painting. And I didn't have any of my own space. And I went through about 3 burnouts during the last 10 years. And one of the burnouts, my friend told me that I need my space. I need a little bit of time away. And I listened to her, and I started to think that it was a really good idea to perhaps get a space for Love Without Borders, but we didn't have any funding. And I just go on a wing and a prayer, and I just created a campaign, and I used everything I had myself, and we ended up purchasing this beautiful art gallery, which now is the home of Love Without Borders. It's not far from here in Kipseli, and it's a place where community happens. We sing, we dance, we eat together, we paint, we bring the children from the refugee camp, and they can take the day to feel special and eat healthy food and be a child. And the Greeks come in and they're very curious and they read a little bit about the bios. And yes, it's a really beautiful space. And no matter what happens in the future with our organization or with anything, the space is for the people, and that will always be. And this was the best investment that we could have ever made.
That's amazing. I've personally seen firsthand how great this space is and how many people can congregate and feel like a community. And I don't know, when I really think about it, it's authentic, and it's an authentic place, and authentic things happen in that space. Earlier we were speaking about authenticity, and I don't know, do you have anything to share about that?
I just think that in order for a nonprofit to be running an authentic program, listening is an incredible tool. Wanting to see your community succeed, and that means not having them volunteer for you. It's really important that we pay them because they're displaced. If they have a proper job, it's, for me, fair, it's authentic. But this is just my point of view. And that's why we only have one person from the refugee community, is because we can only pay one person. But we would love in the future to have more, because they have given us so much insight. And Ahmed, who's the project manager, has really changed the way that we work due to his living the real experience as a refugee. He understands the background, and he's changed it in the matter that instead of just taking these cases on, before we would put people straight away in the hotel, then we would assess their situation, but taking the time to listen, to really find out their needs, to find out if really Love Without Borders is able to help them in a good, authentic way. And we can't help everybody. Unfortunately, this is what I'm learning now, is by when we don't have a possibility, we have to say no, and that's not always an easy thing to do.
Yeah, I can imagine it's really it's a very hard thing to do. Do you think that more people on board your organization and helping your cause would be helpful, even though at this moment you mentioned it's not really feasible?
I think having people in every part of the world helping is important. And sometimes we have people that, there's so many. I literally have thousands of people that have helped in the background. And I will take a minute just to thank all of those people, because the donors, they have created so many beautiful stories. And, you know, I'm the only one that really knows what happened after we took that family to the hospital or housed them and then they went on to Germany. I'm the only one that knows about how wonderful that was. I get to see firsthand. I think one day I need to write a book, because I have so many stories. But the donors, I just wish that, you know, you knew how helpful you've been, even by making those donations and continue donations to support Love Without Borders. We've been doing some just beautiful work that's really important. And so the people in the background, and that I talk about people that are doing the organizing the pop-up events, helping me to do the flyers, lugging art from here to there, keeping art in their home. I literally have so many people in the background, and I have chores for everybody in the world because I'm helping thousands of people. So if you want to come for dinner with me and have a social night, it's not going to happen. It's going to be more about what can I do to get involved. Unfortunately, and not really unfortunately, this is just the life that we have now. The society, the world has just changed so much. And everything that we're doing here is really emergency. It's urgent. And so we don't have time right now to take time and go to the beach and all of this. It's really big work here in Greece. And so there's enough work for many people.
For everybody, maybe even.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did tell some students one time at an event, it doesn't matter if you're helping somebody in New York or in San Francisco or in Frankfurt. As long as people are continuing with acts of kindness, being kind, helping each other, this is enough. Maybe some people can't get involved like I did. This is probably for sure because I'm very extreme when I work, and when I see a big need, I like to see things get done efficiently and quickly. And so, but if you can do one thing, even for your family member, that's enough. Don't feel overwhelmed by the situation. Do something for one person. And even if it's for yourself, this is okay too.
Yeah, that's amazing. I feel like you do so much, Kara, and I'm curious, how are you? How are you feeling right now?
That's a really good question. After 120 hours of flight hours this month,
Wow.
I have massive jet lag. I'm happy to be back in Greece, and I'm thankful. I have a passport. I have a home. I have a beautiful family, beautiful friends, a lot of support. But it's not easy. I will be really frank that the work after 10 years, it takes a toll on you, and you feel a lot of things aren't fair always. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I try to use my platform in a positive way to always move the wealth. Anytime that somebody offers something, whether it's clothes, we're really keen on secondhand for the environment, or anything they have to offer, we try to move it around through the world in order to get it to the right people. But I have really good genes. I'm really fortunate that I have amazing parents that have in their own time done so much for students and for community. And I want to thank both my parents for all of the amazing upbringing that I've had, that I can do this work and try not to complain and try to continue to keep it up.
That's amazing. You do a lot, 100%. No dispute. What's moving forward? What's next for Love Without Borders?
So we are continuing slowly with our housing program. As I said, the more sponsors we have, the more people we can support. And we're trying to focus on language, Greek, English, some trade skills, find ways for people to work. And, we're open. Our gallery is just a beautiful space, as we mentioned, that we have some really exciting ideas to do more exhibitions and gatherings. And we have approximately 100 students and faculty per year coming from France and the USA right now.
Wow.
If I can get a helper for next year, we will continue that. It's very difficult for me to be flying still as a flight attendant and to be here full time. So I'm going to have to hope for some stipends, for some help, because alone it's not possible. But we've been managing that for the last several years, and I think it's been pretty impactful for the students that are here. And yeah, we're just focused a lot on, the children. They're living in deplorable environment in refugee camps, and it looks like a prison when you go there and you visit it. You've been with us on the outside.
Yeah.
It looks like a prison, and we just want everything we can do to take a little bit of that pain away from them.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Do you have any other thoughts or any other things that you want to share about this monumental milestone of 10 years?
I'm just thankful. I'm really thankful that I had this experience, and I'm looking forward to seeing how art can really touch more hearts around the world and connect more communities. Also with the students, and to see how this student service program will grow and evolve. And a huge thanks to all of the teachers that have come out to Greece to help us. And I think maybe you can talk a little bit about your experience as a student coming over to volunteer in Greece and what that meant to you.
Yeah, completely. So last October, about a year ago, actually, around this very time, I came to Greece with my school. I was a senior in high school, and when I heard about the Greece service trip, I was really curious about it, and I was very set on at least applying to see if I got in, and having the opportunity to come to Greece. I knew some people who had done the same trip that my school offered a few years earlier, and they all said that they had a very positive experience in Greece. And coming to Greece was honestly probably one of the most humbling and grounding experiences I've had in this life. It really gives you perspective on how blessed you are and how little people are given dignity in life. And I think that this is exemplified through what is the refugee crisis. And being able to see that you can have an impact on people, whether that's in the smallest possible way or in a bigger way, is inspiring, and it makes you feel like you're doing something with purpose and you're doing something authentically. And I think that's how people should move through the world, doing things that help others and doing things that are truly authentic. And yeah, that's what I don't know. I feel like that's what I have to say. Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you. And a huge thanks to your school, because they've been so helpful. George School in Newtown, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Yeah, Meredith and Prescott have done some amazing work, and we actually had a group of your students last year that created a video called Small Changes, and it won the Tribeca Film Festival, second place, but
almost.
It was really beautiful, and maybe we can add that on here to the podcast, but
100%.
That was just great to see how students are being more educated through live presence in the crisis area.
A real life, like you were saying earlier, a real life experience when you see something with your own eyes is always going to be more impactful on you and actually change you as a person compared to seeing something or hearing about something. That's why I feel like your work is very important, because you're able to allow people to truly see what this situation is like.
Yes, and I also think there's some preconceived notions about refugees, and that word has a negative connotation. And so when people come here and we're going to the refugee camp and we bring everybody out and they see this could be my mother or my sister, it changes a lot. It really does change a lot. And you can only understand the people and what they're going through if you can sit with them face to face and talk with them, have a tea with them.
And listen.
And listen, exactly. And that's the connection that's missing in the world, but we're doing our best to see that it's growing, and we're having more and more schools sign up. We had our first contract now with Hofstra University starting in March, and hopefully we're going to have more schools coming next year. So we're so thankful for everybody to give this program a chance when this program was completely a tiny little dream. It was not even a thought.
Yeah.
You know, this is how beautiful things evolve, and so we're very thankful for the opportunity.
Yeah, I'm thankful for this opportunity as well. I don't know what else to say.
So yes, just thanks everybody for the last 10 years of support. Thanks from all the children, from all of the women, the men, the human beings that we're supporting, and for all of you that have donated and purchased a painting. You are making a huge change, one painting at a time.
One painting at a time. That's beautiful.
Thank
you
you
guys very much.